I'm Bob Bakert with Jazz Guitar Today, and we're here with Bruce Forman and Pat Bergeson. And I'm blown away. What I just heard was just fantastic. And look at that venue that you're in.
Yes.
I mean, you think
Yeah.
you were the other side of the room here with
I know.
with the barn that
Everything's
I'm
done with
in.
reclaimed wood thing. Yeah.
Oh my God! I mean, that's unbelievable. So you guys, I hearing my echo, but I don't care. I'm going to talk over it. It doesn't bother me. Um, you guys, when we were out at the Rocky Mountain Archetype Festival, told me about a very special project that you're embarking on, and obviously, you know, and Bruce, you're playing Barney Kessel's guitar,
Yes, that's true.
and he's 100 years old this year, correct?
Correct.
And Pat, you're playing Chet Atkins' guitar that was in his
Yes, I
office,
am. That's correct.
and he's 100 years old this year
Yes, he turns 100 in June.
in June. Okay,
Yep. Hmm.
and those are their guitars.
Right.
That's right.
Right. This is the project. We're announcing it. You getting the scoop.
I
Jazz
love you.
Guitar Today is getting the scoop. We are doing a project called 100 BC.
I'd rather listen to the story of you guys figure out who wants to talk and when you want to talk, but this project is about the 100 years with their instruments, and it's a huge tribute, and you're doing a whole lot of stuff for it. So rather than me kind of go through it, Bruce, you want to jump all over this and tell us the
Okay.
story, what's
Yeah.
going
I'll
on,
start.
and Pat can be the color guy, and then he
Yeah.
can
Well,
change.
we'll figure that out.
Yeah, then he
Yeah,
can
yeah.
change places.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have Bruce start it out.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to give Jazz Guitar Today the scoop on this big project because this is something very near and dear to me. Everybody knows I've got Barney's guitar, and Barney turned 100 in October. Pat's got Chet's guitar. He turns 100 in June. And it was just a great idea for us to, and Pat played with Chet and knew Chet so well, was mentored by him, and I played with Barney a lot, and of course, have a lot of connection to him. And I just thought it would be a great way to, on the celebration of their 100th year, to play their guitars and tell stories about them. And so we're announcing that this project called 100 BC is, you got the scoop, Bob. And we're
Amen.
very grateful for you, all that you do for the jazz guitar community that makes us want to share this with you first.
Man, I'm so honored. I can't even begin to tell you.
And so the idea is not to play like them and not to play their songs, but to play their instruments and to tell stories about them and just be the people that they wanted us to be in the first place, and hopefully get the world to say their names more. Because I'm hoping 100 years from now, they're still saying these people's names. There's a lot of things that I'm sure we'll get into in this interview about why they were so important to the evolution and progress and just development of this instrument in music. And we are here to share that, basically.
Yes.
That's
Very
Pat.
well said, Bruce.
Did you want to jump in on that? Thank you, Bruce.
Well,
That's
So very well
fine.
said, Bruce. Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
we were both very much influenced and, yeah, you could say mentored by them, and they both, Chet and Barney Kessel, changed our lives, in such a positive way, and Bruce and I are doing this project to spread the word about those two guys and how great they were and how good they were to us and to so many musicians all over the world and aspiring guitar players.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Chet Atkins, for God's sakes. I mean, come on. I mean, that's, I'm not being be sacrilegious, but that's like God on guitar. I mean, that's like, he, to so many people, Mr. Guitar, he's the guy. I mean,
Yeah, he's with you.
Tommy Emmanuel, you know, who's a great ambassador for the instrument, as you know
Oh yeah.
the kinds of things that he says, and yeah, I
Oh
mean
yeah.
it's pretty incredible, and the same thing is you know is true of Barney. I mean, I interview a lot of people. Barney's name comes up an awful lot, and you know in terms of people that who we influenced and all that kind of stuff. So you guys you're making a record.
Yeah,
You're
doing some video, and we're recording some music, and we're doing some video, and we're going to start a Kickstarter campaign.
We want everybody's support because we are going to do it's going to be it's going to be launched on January 15th. It will go for the month, the 15th to the February 15th. But what we are going to do is we're going to do a road trip from Luttrell.
We're going from Luttrell, Tennessee to Muskogee, Oklahoma,
which are their birthplaces. We're starting in Luttrell, and we're going to go through Knoxville and Nashville and Chattanooga and Memphis and Little Rock and end up in Muskogee. And we're going to be posting footage and interesting tidbits and stories, not only from ourselves, but a lot of other musicians who were influenced by them. Basically, everybody who plays one of these things was influenced by them. So we'll be just lots of great content, and we're creating an amazing, I don't know, you could look at it like a reality TV show, you could look at it like a fundraising campaign, whatever. We're here to spread the word, but we're going to go from the birthplace of Chet in a road trip to the birthplace of Barney, and we're going to play music and spread the love and spread their names, and hopefully get a lot of support from people. There will be stuff to buy for the people who want to contribute, various levels of things you can get. But we're just creating just a wonderful moment in time, 100 BC, right? It only happens once.
Man, I got to tell you, this is so freaking cool.
Yeah.
I mean, how's that for elegant articulation? It is so freaking cool.
And Bob, we'll also be doing shows throughout the year.
Yeah.
And we'll also be doing some educational things too, doing some clinics and some college visits and, some teaching opportunities too. And that'll be part of our project this year as well.
Well, I mean, I hope that the American population understands, that how important this is.
I agree with you, Bob.
Yeah.
I really agree with you. I'm sitting here thinking about like really important people, and the weird thing, we're sitting here together, and I did some research, and to my knowledge, Barney and Chet never hung out. They never did,
Yeah.
And yet, of course, Chet, he changed the world for the guitar, not just from his playing, but also his producing and his finding great musicians that the world needed to hear and making sure they did. Right. That's like, wow, how different the world would be without him. Barney Kessel, not in the same way, but his playing, he's the one who created trio jazz guitar and made the guitar kind of a pianistic kind of instrument in the world of jazz. He was, of course, incredibly swinging and fiery and compositional in his approach to improvisation. That is, still to this day a hallmark and what everybody aspires to, and created, waves that we're still in the wake of. And yet these guys never, to my knowledge, got together, but
they may have.
By proxy, we've got their instruments together, and their children are together, and we're making this happen.
I'm going to say that if it wasn't for Chet specifically, the culture and landscape of the musical culture of the United States would not be anywhere near the same.
Yes, I would agree.
There would be no Dollywood.
Yeah, well, that's true. Probably
no.
not. No, he was so it's amazing what he accomplished in his lifetime.
all
and
those
all the
children.
people he influenced and mentored and discovered, and all the record deals he made happen for people, and all
The
the
music.
ways he was.
The music that he's responsible for, that influenced and all the people that made love in the back seat of the Oldsmobile to music that was influenced by Chet Atkins. I mean, we don't know who would be here and who wouldn't be here, and I'm not trying to make a joke out of that. I mean, the reality is the fabric of American music was profoundly laid down by this guy.
Yeah.
On
You
so
know,
many levels, not just his playing, but his producing
well,
and his
that's what I'm saying.
choosing
The
people. And
producing,
yeah, I mean, yeah, oh,
the
totally.
people
I
he
mean,
discovered,
yeah.
the culture.
And he broke barriers. He doesn't get credit for so many things that happened because he made them happen. That it's beautiful, and I'm really jealous of Pat because I never got to meet Chet, never got to hang out with him. And I probably, had I been a little bit more, I could have figured out a way to make it happen, but I just was busy doing whatever I was doing, and I regret it. So that's another lesson for all the young musicians who are listening to this, is like, search out those people, find that they're all accessible. If you love the music, they love the music, they want to know you.
So what I'm saying here is, if you get the opportunity to go to a Bruce Forman, Pat Bergeson show for Barney, you need to go.
Yeah.
You need to go and meet these guys. These guys that are carrying the torch. I mean, you guys are two important people. I mean, they literally, Barney and Chet basically handed the torch off to you guys, and there you are, playing the music. So, what kind of music are you going to record? You said you're not doing necessarily their tunes. What's the album project going to look
Kind
like?
of what you just heard is what we did, what we're doing.
We're doing jazz. I mean, we are a jazz duo basically, but we're doing different. We're not really playing. We're doing our own thing.
Yeah, I
we're
love
pretty
it.
much doing our own thing, and we're just we're thinking of tunes that Chet may have recorded, or songs that he produced on different artists, and
Right.
like doing our versions of those songs.
Right.
And
But what you hear is basically the same thing. I mean, we'll play something 5 times, and it's
Can I
different
get you
every time.
guys? Can I get you guys to play another tune for us?
Sure.
All right.
okay, here we go.
That's incredible. That's so beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous.
Thanks,
I mean,
Bob.
yeah, that's God, that's so beautiful. Absolutely. I'm telling you, wow. Absolutely freaking just.
Yeah, we just kind of play together, and I mean, it's great.
Yeah, it's a little bit more than you just kind of play together. But
Yeah, but no, I mean, that's how we approach it. We just,
yeah, no, I understand.
we're bringing a lot of
You,
stuff to the table.
two masters.
And it's weird to kind of, you have to, I mean, even Barney, we talk about this, he liked me because we basically had similar influences, but we didn't play the same way. He even said that to me one day. We were having dinner, and I think he said to me, "You ever wonder why I pick, call you to do these gigs, and I said, yeah, I mean, I know you play with Martin Taylor and Howard Alden and Emily Remler, and, I mean, and they're all great,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad you called me, but, maybe they're busy. I don't know. And he said, no, he says, I call you because you play the way I play, but you don't sound like me. Which is a cryptic way, I think, of saying like we have similar influences, but we come in a different way. Like obviously the Count Basie thing with my big band kind of approach, and I like to arrange as I play in the moment, and you know what I mean. And I kind of do listen to myself and other people around me, and so I respond to it. And I think that's the things that he heard in me that made him like me, or they're kind of my top priorities in music, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, you can also tell when I'm watching you, you're really listening to each other incredibly, and there's so much respect going on between the two of you that
Well, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to watch and listen.
I want to play like Bruce when I grow up.
Yeah, we all do.
Well,
we
you
all
can't
do.
do both.
And I can't
You
do
can't do
both, so
both.
I'm never going to sound like Bruce.
So, and basically, being Peter Pan, you got a problem there, right? Is that?
Yeah, that's right.
That's the issue. So your selection of tunes, can you give us a couple of a little some of the tunes that are going to be on the record?
It's been like we'd start playing something. Oh, I like that tune. Let's do it. I mean, it's really been generally, I guess we kind of picked really old tunes.
We just threw some songs in a pile and just started. Let's try this. See how this works. I mean, I think Bruce and I are. Yeah, I mean, we're both jazz influenced people. I have other influences, and I play harmonica too. We've done a little bit of stuff with me playing harmonica. And
you don't just play harmonica; you're the best harmonica player I've ever heard.
Well,
yeah,
thanks,
badass.
Bob. I mean,
totally badass.
Well, I appreciate. I'm one of them. I'm one of the harmonica players.
Yeah.
And anyway, we just threw some songs in a pile, and we started we'd say, let's try this and see how this works with us. I mean, I think a lot of times when you put together a duo act or any kind of act, but especially like a duo, it's just the two of you.
Yeah.
And you have to find a way to, not everything is going to work. I think it's like, you know what I mean? It's like there's certain tunes you might pick where like, this is cool, but there are certain things that are really going to click, I think, when you start working on things. And so, yeah, it's a work in progress. It will continue to be a work in progress.
Continue to be,
Is there a not that it needs it, because it certainly doesn't, but is there any tunes where there's a rhythm section, or is it strictly duo?
No.
We're a duo, man.
No.
This is what this is. I mean, in a lot of ways. I mean, of course, I love playing with rhythm sections. You've heard me do that. A lot, and I love to do it. I'm liking this just because the guitars are kind of the stars.
No, I'm listening to the way you guys are playing together, and it's marvelous. The other night I was watching. Speaking of Barney, I was watching Barney and Charlie Bird and and Herb, doing that great guitars gig with the Jack Red and Charlie's brother on bass.
Yeah.
And I was thinking
Joe
about
Bird and Charlie Chuck Red.
Yeah, and I was thinking about the Chuck Red. I'm sorry. The great guitars, and how we don't see, guitar players going out in trios or even duos like that, doing that. and then you guys show up on the scene, and it just was kind of serendipitous for me
Well,
to
I do
say that.
want, give credit where credit is due. Martin Taylor has kept that going somewhat
right.
amongst all his other projects. I have done some great guitars tours with him, mostly with me and him and John Jorgensen, sometimes Borelli Legrand,
Yeah,
but, or Wolf Lacanius. Martin has really kind of kept that going. I mean, it was never something I wanted to manage, but
yeah,
I mean, and both Martin and I subbed in that band.
yeah,
I mean, it was very regional. If the guys were on the West Coast and either Barney or Herb or Tao couldn't be in it, they would call me on the West Coast. And in Europe, they would call Martin. And I'm sure on the East Coast at that time, they called Howard Alden. I mean, it was just, we were around and we knew the tunes and we could fit into those, slots.
into those slots and make that happen.
And I just want to remind you that Martin Taylor, which I don't need to tell you about, I'm sure you've covered him a lot.
Oh, I have, yeah.
What a brilliant player, and he's really done so much for the music and the jazz guitar.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I love Martin. I love his playing. I like his personality. I like everything about the guy. I think he's great.
Yeah.
He's the shit.
Pardon me? Something
Martin
about
is the shit.
Yeah. I would say,
Put it
most
lightly.
definitely, yeah. And actually, a little advertisement, if there's any spaces left, we're doing a guitar workshop together out in Benicia, which is near the Bay Area in California in April. So if anybody who's watching and wants to really have an exciting time with, I think it's Martin, myself, and Peppino D'Agostino. So it's like three really different ways to play the guitar there all together. So, and it's a really cool place. So
make sure we get the artwork on that. We'll incorporate it.
You need to talk to him, but yes, I mean,
Okay.
I'm happy.
I will.
It's in the books, and I hope he talks as much about me in his interviews as I talk about him.
He's such an English gentleman at this stage in his life. I mean, whenever I talk to him, he's just such an English gentleman. He just comes out of him. And he's great. So let's talk about those guitars for a minute or two.
Sure.
I'm going to start with the Super 4000.
There you go.
This is this
let
guitar here.
me just say something. So we're at the Rocky Mountain Arch Festival, and I see the case, and I knew something special had to be in it. And you said you had Chet's guitar, and you said a Super 4000. And I thought to myself, well, it's Super 400. He must have had too much wine last night. And sure enough, you pull that thing out and handed it to me, and I went, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, it's a beautiful guitar. I mean, it was built in the early '90s, and Chet had this guitar the whole time I was working with him. It was always in his office, sitting right there on a stand.
Yeah.
And he would sit around and play it, in the office, and it was always he always had several guitars lying around that I was able to play and pick up, and this one was my favorite one that he had. I just thought, gosh, dang, this guitar. I mean, it just the way it played and sounded. I just thought this was my favorite. I just loved it, and but it was built by Gibson for Chet in the early '90s, and Gibson made, I wish I can remember the number, how many they made 50. They made 50 of these guitars or something. Total.
I've never seen one.
Somewhere around that many. I'll get the exact number right. I have it written down somewhere. But this was the first one they made. This one they made for Chet. Well, it wasn't actually the first one they made. I think they made it. I know they did make a prototype, and my friend Mike Harrington, who runs the Rocky Mountain Archtop Festival, Rocky Mountain Guitar Camp. My friend Mike Harrington has the prototype of this guitar.
Oh, really?
Wow.
And but this was the first one. I mean, that was, I guess, production one or whatever that they made for Chet. It has his initials and, and it's got all this stuff written, Chet Atkins written down here on the trapeze and on the pickup, and all that. But then they made some regular models, without all his personal info on it.
Yeah.
But they're really, really, really great guitars. As a matter of fact, I was at Grun Guitars a couple months ago, and they had one for sale there. and I played it, and I was like, holy cow, it was a good one. I mean, a really good one, you know. But yeah, it's a beauty. I mean, it's just fun to play. It's really great guitar to play, and it's it's got a floating pickup, and the top is, but the thing about it that's interesting is it has an 18-inch bout.
It's
So
big.
it's huge, and and recently, when Bruce and I decided to do this project, I started looking for a case for it, like a gig bag, and I was like, you mean to tell me that I'm like, Bruce and I are doing this project, and I'm not going to be able to find a gig bag for it. I'm like, oh my God, we're going to have to put it flying under the plane. But I did find one recently, and I think it's going to work. A friend of mine has one. My friend Andy Reese has a leather one that Levy's made that he's let me borrow.
Oh, wow.
But they don't make that case anymore. So I mean, I think this is an issue for a lot of people who have, big, huge guitars like this. Finding a gig bag, they don't make them. So anyway,
but what's so interesting to me is that's it's a 18-inch, which is the Super 400 size, and that's for tall people to play. I mean, otherwise, you start crawling over it. If you're less than like my size, 6'2" or 3, But this guitar is like an inch or so thinner. Can you hold it up so that you see the depth of it?
Yeah,
and that makes it. I mean, Pat looks so comfortable playing it, and I think it's because it's not both big and wide.
Do the Super 400s, are they big and
wide? Oh, the
wide?
Super 400s are this one.
Oh, I didn't know that
they
were that wide.
Yeah,
okay.
they're big.
Yeah. I've played those before, but I don't remember them being so wide. Yeah. But yeah, it's thinner.
Well, I played it for a little bit when you handed it to me, and I was floored with it. I mean, I couldn't find anything that I didn't love about it. It's beautiful in the hand. It responds gorgeously.
The neck is really nice.
The neck is great. The way I mean, everything about it was just phenomenal. The tone was great.
And it doesn't have the wooden bridge, which I actually like. I like that it has this Tune-O-Matic, bridge, so you can intonate it really well. And Joe Glazer just set it up for me, and it's playing great.
Well, Joe did it. It's right.
Oh yeah.
And so it's warm as can be. I mean, I'm listening to it out here. I mean, I don't think you're not missing anything from not having a wood bridge. It's warm.
No, it's definitely warm, but it's also snappy too.
Yeah. Yeah. No. No, it's phenomenal. What kind of an amplifier are you playing?
That's Don's Fender Deluxe. What's it? Blues Deluxe or whatever.
Yeah,
that's a great Hot Rod Deluxe. It's a fantastic amp. Those are great amps.
It sounds pretty incredible over here.
Those are great amps. It's a good one.
It sounds great. So turning over to you, Bruce, what do you got in your hands? I know this guitar has been pretty documented, but let's do it again because it's an important.
Okay, well, for the people that haven't been paying attention,
those guys and girls,
this is a 1946 ES350. The ES350 is the 17-inch version of the ES175, obviously, twice as big. The ES175 was the poor man's, plywood L4. The ES350 is the poor man's plywood L5. So it's a 17-inch box from 1946. Barney, originally it had the parallelogram inlays, on a rosewood fingerboard. Barney took that off really early in the game and had a 22-fret fingerboard for a long time, which was ebony. A lot of guys were doing that. Jim Hall did that with his 175. John Pisano did that with his 175. That was kind of a thing for the jazz guys to get a little bit more, because the ebony made the notes jump out a little bit more. It was a little more clearer because they had a real dark sound.
Yeah.
Even though they had the P90s originally. Barney, I know that he was a pickup freak, and he was looking around for the right pickup. He finally found this one, which is a 1939 Charlie Christian pickup.
Right.
Not original, of course. Original was a P90, and that's in here. This bridge has been made for the guitar. The knob were changed. If you go to YouTube and look, Barney Kessel talks about his guitar, you'll hear more about it than I can tell you. And it's only like a 1 minute or 2 minute video. So I would suggest that. On top of that, he was really different from all other guitar players, in my opinion, because he just kind of basically had one guitar his whole career. I mean, we're talking about a career of, you know, from late 40s to the early 90s.
Yeah, and he played on so many records.
Yeah, and I mean, he didn't always play this guitar. Of course, he was a studio musician, played at Telly a lot. He had a Django-style guitar. He had a L5, you know, a 28 L5 that he played for, you know, orchestra style. I mean, he did a lot of different things. But when he played jazz, basically, this was the guitar he played throughout his whole career.
Right.
I mean, even though it's been refinished and it's had 3 fingerboards, and I was with him when the neck got broken. We were in Australia.
Uh-huh.
And then, of course, it's just been cracked up on the sides. It's just beaten to shit. But it's it's like a dog that lost every fight. But, you know, it's a soulful dog. And so, you know, and when I got it, you know, and I used to play it for him when he was sick. And it was really hard to play. Barney kind of liked it hard to play because if you listen to his playing, some people called him a little on the sloppy side. You know, yeah, but I mean, it was just because he was going for stuff, and you could just really feel the human, you know, like, I'm going to make this happen.
Right.
In it, to me, that's what I hear in that. I don't hear like, oh, he wasn't as clean as Johnny Smith, which he wasn't. But you know, I mean, that, you know, to me, it was just this animalistic, going for stuff. And when I got it, I didn't like as much relief in the middle of the neck. You know, I like a consistent action top to bottom. So I straightened the neck out a little bit when I first got it. And I've still got this last set of strings he played on it. But I've kept everything pretty much same gauges, never put the pickguard on it. And of course, for me, I don't know if when you watch me play, like my hand is looking for some place to be all the time. It's like, help, I'm out here, you know, I'm in space, you know, where's Earth?
Yeah, I like
but
a
I just kind of
too.
make it work. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I do this. I don't know what I do, you know, and it's like, just but it puts me in this sort of the same space of him, of like, make it happen. Don't worry about it, you know, and it's like, and music first. And so, that's what this is. You can probably see that you know, like, this was because it just got crushed in, because it probably fell over when somebody got their foot caught on the input jack.
Yeah.
You know, and so he had to rebuild that, and it's just a soulful partner. And I've you know, I mean, I don't have to play it. I got other guitars, but I just find myself loving this thing. And of course, you know, I mean, really through my project before with the Poll Winners, and my project now with this, it's like, hey, if I can get the world to say Barney Kessel a couple more times, you know, that's good enough for me, because really, you know, what we're doing is happening because of him. Think of what the guitar was before Barney Kessel and what it was thought of as. And you know what the expectations were of that instrument, and thank you, and then all of a sudden, you know, the Poll Winners records happen, and like everybody's got a guitar trio, guitar, bass, and drums. 5 years later, Sonny Rollins records The Bridge with Jim Hall without a piano. You know, that would never have happened had Barney not crossed the bridge first.
Barney had a music store.
Yes, he did.
A friend of mine was his guitar teacher out there.
Really?
Guy I started a music school with here in Georgia. It's called the Frank Hamilton Folk School. It's based after the Old Town School in Chicago, which he started as well. Was Barney's lead teacher. He taught people like Lowell George and Linda Ronstadt and Carla Bonham and all these people at the store where Barney.
Jimmy Weibel taught there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, where Barney had the store, and Frank said he used to get him upset because he'd be teaching in one of the booths, and Howard Roberts and all the guys would be downstairs jamming. on some nights, and he said it was an incredible scene. It was great.
Yeah,
So I mean, Barney did, obviously played music, but he also helped, a lot of people get guitars in their hands and all that kind of stuff too, which is
that's
really
right.
important. So
That's neat.
let's kind of put this thing together here a little bit. You you got a video coming out on the project, right?
Well,
You're
we've got
recording
video content.
video
Yes.
content. All right. Well, all right. I maybe I misspoke a little bit, but there's a video of this project. You've got the album that you've recorded. I guess now is it done?
Well, we're recording.
Recording it.
We're
Okay.
We
recording.
don't know how far it's going to go yet.
Okay. And then you've got a tour planned
Yes.
from Latrell to did I say that correctly?
Muskogee.
To
Muskogee.
Muskogee. Um,
Yes.
and then you've got a GoFundMe
It will be
campaign.
Kickstarter.
Kickstarter. I'm sorry. I'm trying to recall.
But that's the same basic idea,
Yeah.
just a different address. Yeah.
Kickstarter to help fund. We'll use that term again.
And in the Kickstarter will be amazing opportunities for people to interact with the project.
Right.
Perhaps the executive producer of the recording.
Right.
They could have performances of me and Pat play, performances of either one of us with a, surprise guest.
Yeah.
Obviously the recording itself, swag, various things. Maybe, who knows? I'll come wash your windows or something in a funny outfit or something. I don't know.
Come
We-
rope
we-
a
we-
come
we
rope
don't
a
know
cow
what
for 'em?
those things will be, but
Hey,
you
Bruce,
have to look January 15th.
can I contribute to that one? I can buy that one, couldn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Well,
But I just got to say, I don't do windows, whether it's in B minor or C minor. I don't do windows.
no windows. So the Kickstarter campaign is gonna when does that kick off? When
That
you-
will launch January 15th.
January 15th, and so I just want to kind of say what I said earlier, that this is an important project. It's beyond just two cool guys going out and playing concerts. This is an important project. It's keeping the flame at a huge Americana in important events of two great artists. The guitars are incredibly important. The music's important, where they came from, their influence on. I mean, Barney's influence on pop music from the West Coast was incredible, as you outlined. Chet, we talked about. This is an important thing, and in this day and age, and I don't want to get on too much of a soapbox, but in this day and age where people are trying to figure out where the ground is, here's where the ground is, folks. This is where the ground is. This is stuff that is important. Get out, go to these concerts, buy the music, watch the videos, get to know who these artists are, emulate them, copy them, support them, all that kind of stuff. It's incredibly important. It's incredibly important. I need to say it one more time. Incredibly important that you support these efforts. It's huge. It's a big deal. And by the way, they'll also, when they go to the concert, they're also going to hear two of the world's great guitar players, just having a really, really good time playing great music and on two incredible instruments. So I mean, I don't know what else you need. I really don't.
Well,
I mean,
we just want
it's
to
a big
play,
deal.
and I mean, I just want everybody to know that, both of us, we got a lot of chops and everything, but we're just here to play music together and share the love and just be in the moment.
Well, the cool thing about both you guys, I mean, you guys can play anything you want to play. I mean, you have the facility on your instruments to play anything that you want to play. And what is the old line? Forget all that shit and play. I mean, you guys are, the music you're going to be playing or that you are playing is right from the heart out into the world. It's where you want to be. It's what you want to do. It's because you're doing this out of love for the art form. And I think that when you get guys, I mean, if Joey Bag of Donuts and Susie Cream Cheese were out doing it for the love of the art form, nobody much would care. But to have artists of your of your talents and reputations and where you've been and your history, I mean, the history on you guys, and we didn't go into that. People can Google you and check all that out, where you've been, who you've been with, and what you've done. And And that sounds bad, doesn't it?
Well,
But it's
last
but
time I
that's
was
important.
Googled, it wasn't that painful, actually.
It wasn't, yeah, right. But it's important stuff. Anyway, is there anything else that you want people to know about the project that we haven't covered?
Well, pretty much that's pretty much it. I mean, we do have a few gigs booked coming up soon.
All right,
We
where
are
are
playing
they?
at the Nashville Jazz Workshop in
Oh, wow.
Nashville,
When?
which is a great place
And
to
that's
play.
part of the tour. It's the 2nd and the 3rd.
February 2nd and 3rd, and we'll be doing Tim Johnston's Lord of the Strings out in Mission Viejo on February 24th.
And I'm
Wow.
pretty sure we'll be at the Chet Atkins Appreciation Society convention
Yeah,
in June.
probably this
And
year.
I can't believe we wouldn't. And we're at the Rocky Mountain Archtop Festival. We've already got
but we've got some other things, things like, pending, throughout the year. And so, but we've got those things coming up soon. But yeah,
Well, you guys are
100 BC.
100 BC.
Chet and
Everybody
Barney.
say it. 100,
100
BC.
BC. I
Chet,
love it.
Chet Atkins and Barney Kessel turn 100. And Bruce and I will be out with these guitars playing and having a great time and doing some fun shows.
And
And
it don't mean nothing unless you're there too.
Well, you know what? I mean, the thing is that you guys, what people don't know but I mean, they couldn't hint from this. You guys are both incredibly entertaining live. I mean, you're both, veterans of the stage, if you will, and you know how to have fun with an audience and let them have fun with you, and that's really, really important too. So
I agree, Bob. I agree very much about that. Yes, we are not here to just dazzle you with our brilliance.
Right.
We
And
will.
that's a good thing because I ain't got that much of it.
Me either. So.
Well, we want to say thank you to both of you guys, for allowing us to, come into this thing with you, and we appreciate the giving us the opportunity to kick it off for you. That you will be our cover story in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever it is, and
That's great
for
news.
the beginning of the year, and so we'll be in touch with you on that for sure.
Let's just partner and let's just have everybody, like I say, make this a successful project. Have everybody say their names, and of course, I just want to once again say how lucky we are.
Well, that's where I'm going.
To do this project in this unbelievable place. With these incredibly talented people.
Yes, and we want to
us.
thank Jason and Hubert and Don Cherell and George Massenberg and Jeff Schmalley for being here.
Is that George Massenberg in there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
George is here working on this with us. He's recording us and helping us out. And of course, we want to thank Tim Savin for his 12-string.
Right. Yeah, he gave us a 12-string, which won't be on the record. That was on something else.
But yeah.
And I salted that thing, and I mean, it's just like that 12-string reminded me of just my life's mission. I spend half my life tuning my guitar, and the other half playing it out of tune.
Well, all right, let's get back to the project. 100 BC.
100 BC, everybody.
100 BC.
Barney and Chet, and Bruce and Pat. So I wanted to get the name straight. So Don, what's Don's last name?
Don Cherell.
Don and George Massenberg are there. And the name of the facility that you guys are at?
It's Don's Barn.
Don's Barn.
And then where is that?
We're in outside of Baltimore.
All right.
We're in Falston, Maryland.
Is that a
Don's Barn in Falston, Maryland? This is my favorite, and I'm telling you the truth. This is my favorite recording studio to work in, and of course with Don and George are two.
Well, that's saying something.
Even though they're both very difficult to deal with most of the time, they're my favorite. Two of my favorite guys.
Well, is the facility?
And I love them dearly.
Is it a commercial? Is it a commercial facility that people can rent time and come in?
Well, I don't know. You got to know the right people.
You got to know the right people.
I'm trying to give them a
And
plug.
we
if
know
he
the
wants
right
one.
people.
Right.
I'm trying to give him a plug if he wants one. That's all.
Oh
that's all
no,
I'm
well,
saying.
you know, I think he's doing too well. He doesn't need no help.
Doesn't need no plugs. Okay.
But you might want to hit on him later for a handout. But you know, you don't need no help, man.
Well, just there you go. There you go. Well, gentlemen.
Thank you, Bob. And
Man.
100 BC, this year's the year.
100 BC.
We're going to
this
celebrate
year.
these guys, and we're going to, you know, do our job, really helping the world remember all the gifts we have because of those people.
Gentlemen, thank you. On behalf of the world thanks you. On behalf of
All right.
May the fourths be with you.
Why don't you play us out a little bit here, guys?
All right. May the Schwartz be with you.
The Schwartz.
Is he off?
I'm in C.
That's fantastic. Good night, guys. Merry Christmas to you if I don't talk to you sooner. Oh, there it is. All right.